Right, so we've just started on Fiat and we've got it up in the air and started taking the calipers off. So the next thing to do is to have a look and see how bad that corrosion is under that, and I shall show you what fun and games we've got to look forward to. Here we go. Okay, so do you see my problem? The carrier bolts, because I'm doing the discs, carrier bolts are kind of behind the subframe. Now normally you could probably just get a small Allen key in there and you would be able to undo it, but look at the state of these Allen keys. This is so heavily corroded. I mean, the other side was worse. So heavily corroded, I don't think I can get an Allen key in there and undo those. So the only thing I can think of doing is to undo the hub, take the hub off and put it on the bench and try and get these off without them kind of destroying themselves. They're quite tight to the back of this subframe at the best of times. I mean, the bottom one's okay, that could be done, but trying to get that top one with this in the way, yeah, I could cut down Allen key and try it, but I suspect with that much corrosion on it, it's not going to give up easy, and I think I'm probably just going to end up rounding out the inside of that. So I'm going to go the long way. I'm going to take these bolts off here. There's 4 of them, and the whole hub assembly should just drop off, and that'll give me more access to deal with all this lovely old rust, which brings me to every car I've ever touched. It's always covered in rust. But here we go. Okay, right, now I've found that it was quite difficult to get access to those bolts at the back there that you can just see. I've got my socket on the last one ready to go. I found the easy thing to do was to undo the shock absorber and just move it out of the way. That gave me loads more access. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. It just made a single bolt just made my life so much easier. Now obviously the speed sensor's in there as well, so I've disconnected that so it doesn't put the wire under any stress when it all comes out. Right, let's get the gun and get this off. Now you can really appreciate how much rust is actually on this assembly. Look at the state of look at the state of the actual disc. This has been driven here and been driven for a while on these discs, and there's just nothing left, is there? Now this was the problem. In here is meant to be an Allen key, but can you see how it's almost perfectly round? And that's the reason I've had to take the whole hub off. I'm not convinced that putting an Allen key in there is going to get me anything out. And also look at the state of the nuts and bolts for the speed sensors. Whilst I'm here, I might change those out. The studs came out okay, but the bolts and the tops are not happy, so I will clean those up and I'll probably change these nuts. Well, I am going to change those nuts, there's no probably about that, but they might, the studs might actually be okay, so I think they're fine. It's just where it's been exposed. Look at the state of it, look. So not happy with that at all. That's got to be made better before it all goes back on. Right, so that's me for the night. I'll pick this up tomorrow. Right, so cut my slot and just with a pair of pliers, I'm winding it down, not up. Because you're winding it up, you're just winding it into all that filth. I'm winding it down, I'm going on to clean thread. So now I've exposed some fresher thread. Just need to go around it with a wire brush. Okay, so that's cleaning all the crud out of the threads. Now I just need some sort of lubricant. Found some copper grease, that'll do. Just anything to help things along. Let's just slap a bit of that round there and push it all into the threads. There you go, so that's that. And then try and wind it off. So obviously the stud's going to want to try and twist with it. So I've got one nut locking it off and another nut into the vise. Locking pliers just gently on, not too tight. And there you go. So you can feel it's all loosening up and the grease is really doing its job getting in there. Now we're coming up to where the thread was done, and you can see it's just going to wind straight off now. And that is how you save a thread. Rag or something. Oop, there goes the spanner. But if you look at that, that's pretty clean and that's reusable now. So just goes getting the lock nuts off and we're there. Okay, so putting my carrier back onto the subframe, and you've got to remember to put those two nuts for the brake pad carrier back in before you tighten it up, because I did the other side and then realised I hadn't put those in, so I had to undo it all and pop them in. So this time I've remembered to put them in first, otherwise you can't get the clearance between that and that to put those in. So there you go, that's installed now, and this is where you have to put those in first. This is in the way of that, so if you round these nuts off, you need to change these nuts, you have to disconnect the cub carrier from the subframe, which is a little bit nuts really, but there you go. That's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. Right, so even the brake pads are giving me problems. Just on the end here, you can see there's like a dollop of paint or something, and it's just enough to stop it from going into the carrier. Once you put the anti-rattle springs in, which are these, what happens is that the pad should sit in here, and as far as I can work out, this blob of paint is actually stopping it from sort of sliding in. So I'm going to have to take that off with a file or something. I had to do it to the other side, I'm doing it to this side. Shouldn't have to do it, but I'm guessing there is some slight tolerance in it. The carrier has probably expanded a little bit because of the amount of rust on it. The anti-rattle springs are not in the best nick, so maybe all three of those variables are just enough to make it hard putting them. So I'm going to have to take a little bit off of this end. Crazy? Yes. Should I do it? Probably not. But it's the only way I'm going to get these pads in. So there you go, I've just gone over it with a file very gently and just rounded off the edge just to make it a bit easier to put them in. But yeah, it's not something that you would recommend doing, but it's proved necessary on these just to, as I say, a few variables. I'm expecting that they to them not to rattle, but and as long as they stay free of movement and they stay into the carrier and push against the carrier, because as they clamp, obviously the weight gets transferred into the carrier, which then gets it transferred to the hub. Whereas a lot of people seem to think that the weight of braking is done on these pins, but these floating pins just allow the caliper to clamp, and then that weight gets pushed into this, which then gets pushed into the hub, which stops the car. So for people that think that these pins actually do any of the braking weight of the car, they're wrong. It's this bit and the weight of those pads being pushed against this lever, or this carrier, is what actually transmits the weight of the car from the brakes, or the brakes into the weight of the car to stop the car from moving. So they've got, as long as they stay within here and they are not flopping about or in danger of falling out, then I should be okay. As I say, not recommended. Don't know why I should have to do it, but I understand that things sometimes are more than they turn out to be. And on this particular car, everything that I've attached has been massively awkward because of the amount of rust that is on these. So there you go, just another little thing you have to do just to a 20-minute job into an hour's job. Right, so there you go. They are now installed. The bits I've had to file off are up here and just here. Now, yeah, it's not going to make any difference to the braking effort, because when it brakes, all the force is going to go up or down, depending which way around the caliper is, but it's going to go up and push this around. They're in no danger of falling out. There's no way that they can go anywhere once we have the clamping action of the caliper actually going over it. So I'm quite happy to do that, but it's something that you really shouldn't have to do. But obviously on this particular car, as I say, everything seems to be covered in rust, and everything seems to be just twice as hard for some unknown reason. Every now and then, you get stuff like that, don't you? But right, let's put them on. The carrier's on, the pads obviously, I put on in the carrier on the bench. Don't have to do that normally, but with this one, it was just easy to do so. So they're all installed. Disc is in. Caliper, I had to wind that back with my little block, actually, a couple of quid. Caliper's nice and free, so it went back lovely. Everything's tightened up here. Just need to put these pins in, and I've lubricated with a little bit of silicone grease. As I say, these don't take any of the weight of the braking. They're literally there just to guide, to let the caliper float as it wears out. And all the braking stress, when these are clamped, pushes this round, or wants to push this round, which is then bolted to the hub, which is then bolted to the subframe. So the fact that the caliper, I've had to dress those pads to make them fit, isn't going to make any difference, because there is enough meat on there from not to go anywhere. If it got to the point where I thought they would be dangerous, I wouldn't be doing it. This is my daughter's car after all. Right. So, simply just need to hook these over, like so, and install these tiny little 8mm bolts, which, as I say, have no real force on them. Right, so they just need to tighten up, and then we are there. So, 13mm socket and just hold the other side with my spanner. Ooh. I just need a nip. You don't need to make such a big deal out of it. They just need a nice nip, and that's now all ready to go. Next, just put the raw speed sensors back in, and I've just got to relocate this shock. I took the shock off, as you remember, to make it easier to get access to these bolts at the back. It was just seemed a quicker way of doing it. Right, let's get a socket on that, and that's the back end, pretty much done and ready to go. Next, front, and that's going to be more interesting. If this was interesting enough, because of the problems we've had, the front's going to be crazy, isn't it? Let's see how bad that can be. Okay, so I think I know why the running light, should I say, the running light isn't doing too well. That's because it's completely debonded from here. I think someone's had a go in the past of trying to glue it on. Yeah, it looks like contact glue or something, doesn't it, on there? So, so I think I'll have another crack at making that stick better. But yeah, someone's literally just glued that thing on. The original setup, to be fair, the original setup is just glued on anyway. Looks like it's just bonded in some way. So maybe a good clean, yeah, it's like bonded around there. So I think what I'm going to have to do is clean that up, rough it up with some sandpaper or something, get it something to bite onto, and then try and rebond it on there. Damage on this one, well, there is a dent here on that same corner, so I'm guessing that's why it was category C, I think this was. There is evidence of overspray on some of the light fittings, so they just did a very basic job masking it up very quickly and getting it repaired. This side, we've done the arm, so the new arm is installed, and you have to take off the Fiat in their wiseness decided to hide the bolt for the arm behind the chassis wheel. It's not even a chassis wheel, I think it's like a sacrificial crash beam. So this is chassis here, this is where the chassis proper starts. And then you've got like this arm over there which bolts in between the chassis wheel and the radiator mount, which has also got like a crash mount on it, corrugate crash mount. So I think the IP is impact absorption, so this all gives away before it gets onto the solid part of the chassis. I think that's how they probably envisaged thought about it. So so now just got to do the next side. Right, so I'm going to start with the back one first. So let's undo that. You can see captive nut on this side, bolt on that side. Ideal place for muck and rust to sit on there. So I'm going to probably warm that up before that comes out easily. So let's get that one off first. Right, arms are, all the bolts are released, so those ones on the top there are out, that one on the side out, that one over the back there out, pinch bolt is out. Now that only leaves the bun for that front leg, and that is behind here. So we've loosened this off. I've come around the front here. You can see that the crash bar thing is all loose and ready to come out, so I've just got to wiggle that free. So let me just put you down for that. Okay, so that's it removed. This side's a bit more awkward because the sump's in the way pushing it out that way, and water bottle's in the way pulling it out this way. I found the quickest thing to do two 10mm headed M6 bolts. Removed that. Fortunately, Caris never keeps a full water bottle because she's too lazy to fill it up, so no water in there. And it just slid out this way, so that was quite good. I don't know if I can make this a little bit easier for you guys to see. No, I am up against the wall, and this is as much as I can zoom out. So just got to redo that. It's just another step. Now, those three came from there, which holds that to that. The pinch bolt and the rear one. So that only now leaves this one here, which, if I get the light, it only leaves this one here in the chassis rail. There you go, there you can see it, which holds the actual arm in. Right, let's get that one. Right, so the new one's in. The way I got it out was knocked this first one out, obviously knocked pinch bolt out, then knocked this first one out, swung the whole thing underneath the anti-roll bar, and then took it out. It's quite straightforward, so that's going to be reversed. So pushed him into the back there. Now just fiddle him under and then try and get him up. Going to need both hands for this, and I forgot to bring my stand today, so I'm going to have to keep putting you down for this, sorry. There you go, so just needed two hands to do that, and that's now tucked in. Next thing is to put the ball joint in, so that's just a case of lining the ball joint up with the bottom of the arm and gently tapping it. So just need to line this up same angle as the arm, and then just gently tap it in. I think this has got quite a nice tape on it, so it should go quite easy. And that is it. Everything else is just a reverse. And there's the finished product. So arms in, nice and straightforward. Just this weirdness, wasn't it really? It would have been a lot quicker if this arm wasn't in the way and you didn't have to take off the whole front of the car. But I need to anyway, because I had that damage, so it wasn't any real loss to me. But looking at the state of this, also we seem to have found an oil leak somewhere, because everything's very wet under there, so going to investigate that very quickly next before doing anything else. But this is all back on. I think the next thing for this car is going to be discs, looking at the state of those, because they're pretty much done, aren't they? And just de-rusting generally. There's a lot of rusty components going on, but apart from that, it doesn't look in too bad a nick. Springs are corroded, they've got corrosion on, so that might get caught up on that. I think might need a set of springs soon. See how we get on with the MOT, see if we can get another year out of it for Caris, and see how we go. Let's leave it there.